Welcome back to Casino Guitars, live from the Rooster. Got another fun night of rocking and rolling here.
That's right.
Me and Sean, of course, you know us. Yep. We had our friend Roland J. Beckerman playing the drums. Talked about him before. Awesome musician and an author. Go check out his stuff.
Great.
Maybe we'll get Derek to even throw some links down in the description. And then, of course, the mighty Woodrow.
Jonathan's twin.
My twin brother. Separated at birth. Now, if you're in the live stream on Wednesday mornings, you know that the mighty Woodrow often comes by and chats. And this is him. Right. Jeremy Wright is his actual, his God-given name.
He plays in a cool band, Aftermath. If
true.
you're ever in town, you come out to see us and stuff like that, make sure to go check them out live.
That's right.
They kick butt.
Local legends, we would say.
That's right.
Yeah, dude.
Heck yeah.
So
we got a lot of Magnatones around us.
Magnatone, I mean.
Oh my gosh. It's like heaven in here right now, dude. With no Baxter allowed, so no two rocks in this room
none of that.
Period. Zero two rockage.
I was about to maybe go too hard, but I toned it back. I filtered myself.
Hey, this isn't the members only stream.
Calm down. But it is. It's Magnatone tonight. So yeah, we've got obviously the Slash Magnatone, the SL-100,
dude,
limited Slash edition. I'm impressed.
I'm blown away.
Before we go into that, though, we got, so my idea, we had the mighty Woodrow come to be Slash. So he slashed it up. And then I got to play the role of the illustrious Richard Fortus. So I snagged the Fortus Falcon, and I had a Twilighter like he runs and my M80 both running. Which
blended together, standing in front of him.
Really good.
That was pretty mighty.
Obviously, Jeremy was playing the SL-100. Dude, it sounded stupidly good.
Once that thing fired up, I was like, whoa.
And not to forget, our good friend Jason was kind enough to let him play the Slash ES335.
That's right.
Which is also
amazing.
I mean, it's barely fair because I feel like anything is going to sound pretty amazing to that. But so a pretty awesome Slash rig there going on. Yeah. So what did you think when you first heard it? Dude, first off, forget the sound.
The moment we opened that box, oh my God, it was like Christmas. I wanted to tear the box apart to get the amp out.
Well, I told Jeremy when we got here that I was excited to see it because we didn't open it until the night.
We had no idea what it was going to look like.
Well, I mean.
We had sort of. I didn't expect that.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
It was because it's kind of, it's that dark green, it's the Python thing, and I kind of had a feeling it was going to be better in person than the pictures were doing for it,
Yeah.
Because some things, certain colors and certain textures, they just don't do it justice to photos. And that is true for that. I mean, that is a really great looking amp. The gold piping, the face plate. It's got a little Slash logo, but it's not overdone. It's not huge. No. It's sort of as tasteful as a skull and crossbones that say Slash can be.
What do you mean?
What are you talking about? No, I mean, it's sort of like as much classic styling as you would need. I think you could play it. I mean, obviously, it's an expensive amp, but you could play this amp.
Well,
even if you're not like a Guns N' Roses tribute band or a Slash thing, if you just wanted an awesome Marshall voice amp.
To speak on like the Python thing, right? Because that's what I was worried about. Yeah. Like seeing the photos of it, and I've seen a couple of those alligator, the croc skin ones that they came out with. Those were not textured at all. So it was just kind of like Tolex over it. And it looked fine. They came out looking fine. But on something like this, I was like, man, I hope it's not just that. And it is like...
It doesn't disappoint.
I didn't expect
that. It looks substantial, It doesn't look...
No.
At all.
Look cheap.
It looks... You're like,
boom.
Oh, okay, that's expensive.
Whoa.
So there's that. Obviously, you get the light-up logo on the head and on the cabinet, which is
flipping that switch the first time was sick.
Pretty amazing.
It was like,
so it's obviously this amp's inspired by the M80, right? Laid out pretty much the same controls. You got presence, you got bass, you got mid, treble, master, and then you got two channels. You got the low gain and you got the high gain. Differences, right? This one's 100 watts.
Yep.
Obviously, it is a 412 closed back cab, which I think, and we'll talk about this in a second, I think it tames some of the highs in that M80. There's some brittle highs in the M80 at certain settings with certain guitars.
Well,
and it's my favorite amp, so I'm not down talking that at all. Like, I love it. But
something to note, you know, and it would be interesting to see if we took an M80 and put a closed back cabinet on it just with the 112 and see what that does to the tone, because that sounds insane, dude. Like, it's got a lot of precision.
Ridiculous. I mean, it's not too bassy.
No, but the treble is kind of, it's really controlled now, which is a great bonus.
And we didn't have it crazy loud in here. Like, we had the master on around 4. We were running the high gain channel. That's not quite to noon, you know. So plenty of headroom. There is a tube buffered effects loop, so you can run, you know, stuff in the loop if you wanted to. I think Jeremy was running his board and everything was into the front end. There's plenty of headroom on that thing. So, you know, for the most part, you'd be fine running stuff. I mean, just if you obviously wanted to run a lot of delay or something like that, the loop would be cool. But the loop in the M80 is great too. I use the effects loop in the M80 a lot. So
something I took away from it sonically and the whole presentation of it is I feel the same feeling that I did with the baby M80, where it's not like they didn't take the M80 and try and shove it into a smaller package or take it and try and stretch it out to a bigger package. It's like they went and redesigned a whole new amp.
And they just made a really good amp. Yeah.
And they made a really great amp. They weren't trying to... they didn't try and aim to do something that would be kind of silly. I think they actually went and did something really great.
I mean, that's a big boy amp. That's like the real deal. You could gig with that thing. You could play arena with it. But master volume is really good.
Yep.
You know, if you're playing larger size places, outdoor spaces, you could get by with that thing. You could get by. You could slum it with it.
I guess you'd
be okay.
You wouldn't need a wall.
But no, I mean, it sounds really good. It's voiced pretty incredibly, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, I'm a Magnatone fan.
Oh, yeah.
And it played really well with the setup that I was running.
It did.
You know, I had both mine
meshed
a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think it does a good job, too, of hearing the Twilighter in your M80 with this at the same time to see not only how well the amps are made, but how well they can just blend all together.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
wow. Because, like, the Twilighter and M80 setup sounded phenomenal. That's something to take away from this, too, is running those two
I had
together.
fun doing it just for that. I was also interested to see how my little 2 amp, you know, 2 112 combos stacked up against a 100 watt 412. And honestly,
I think
it didn't like run away with them.
Yeah. Well, it's like the baby M80. Like, I feel we had the same conversation of justifying something like that. I could justify something like this, you know. Price tag's a little heftier. I get it, though, because there's only 100 of them, right?
Yeah.
And there's only 100, that makes sense. It is a true limited run.
It's a true limited run, which is pretty fantastic. There's a lot of, there's a really cool plaque. We'll put some pictures of that.
It's like you went to college and that thing, man. It's like, there's a little booklet.
You know, I never got a college degree, so I don't know.
That was my thought. That's what I felt like opening up. I was like, wow.
You know, that certificate is definitely nicer than her degree.
It's got a picture of Slash in there with the amp and a bunch of stuff. He's like, yeah.
It's got the Slash picks, the Magnatone picks.
Slash picks.
Got all the normal Magnatone stuff. It's got the cable to do the lighting. It came with a speaker cable.
That's right.
It's kind of amazing how many high-end head and cabs, they don't give you a speaker cable.
No speaker cable? I'm sure if they had a light-up cabinet, they'd be like, well, you just got to find a MIDI cable and plug it in.
I mean, I feel like they should all give you that. But I'm sure they don't. Some of them,
there's no telling.
When you think about the price, man, you think about, like, if you go and buy a 2-Rock TS1, which I feel like would be a decent comparison to this. Because, you know, the high gain channel on this is a cascading sort of gain stage thing. Not totally like the TS1, but they live in that same world, right?
Yeah.
And I could see playing this.
I can see it too.
I mean, because you're talking about another really expensive in that same price range. You're talking about a 100, 150 watt thing. You can get those in a combo, but I think the real comparison would have to be the head and the cab.
Yeah, and I think too with this, the tweakability of the amp is more so set to like what I personally like. I feel like you'd fall into that same category with that because the TS1 is a great amp and it sounds amazing. I just felt like I spend so much time playing with the knobs versus this
feels like you're playing, you know, it's familiar in that like, oh, it's an old Marshall, right?
Yes.
The other thing I like, this is supposed to be, I guess, kind of high gain, you know, that Slash lives in that harder rock world for a lot of things. They didn't overdo it though. Like I play some high gain things And you can get cleaner sounds, but there's a really like so much saturation.
Yeah.
You can get to a point where it kind of feels a little fake. You kind of, or fizzy.
Definitely.
This is not that. Like, this is kind of punchy in your face. There's plenty of bite and sort of the highs. It's a lot of mid kind of
And
push.
hearing you tweak with it before we even started, we found 3 or 4 different settings right off the bat that just sounded phenomenal.
We pretty much ended up with everything at noon. Pretty much everything, the presence, the bass, mid, and treble are all at noon. It kind of ran with that, but I did this sort of like bassman thing where I did the bass and the treble totally down, and then the mids and the presence dimed. That sounded really good.
Which, you know, the noon thing, I think, says a lot about the amp as a very usable platform, and then being able to tweak it to something like a bassman, which we all know a Marshall lives in that same vein, right? And it being able to do that really well, I'm like, that's kind of cool. I like that. I enjoy it. Whenever you can have an amp at noon and it works, and then it can totally shape shift like that. Incredible versatility.
It did sound pretty darn good, even with the master down at like 2.
Yep.
Which is nice, right? Because if you've got an amp this big, especially if you're like, let's say you just love Slash, and maybe you're not gigging a ton, and you just want this thing. I think, you know, I mean, is it the greatest like practice home amp? No, no, it's ridiculous. But
what do you mean?
Right. But you can do it. You know what I mean? Like if I had this in my house, I would absolutely play it too, and it's still enjoyable. Yeah. I don't think it's lifeless. Like some bigger amps are really lifeless on the master volume.
Well, that's a big thing with Magnatone, I think, too, is they really strive, especially talking to Rod about it, volume-wise. They want it to be as soon as you can hear the amp, it sounds good, and everything after that is just getting better and better and better as you turn it up.
That was one of the things that sold me on the Twilighter.
Yeah.
You know, and Rod told us that when we first met him in amp. He was like, we really worked hard on that, you know.
Well, that inspired me to want to play around with them more at the shop whenever we first got them in to, like, test that, you know, and see what it did. Because at the time, you know, I was living in a space where I couldn't be that loud. And I was impressed. And once again, they just keep impressing me.
Well, you get the vibe, right, that they really did take their time. They really did talk to Slash and put some thought into designing this thing.
Yeah.
I think it just shows more than just, oh, let's make this 100 watt and slap Slash's logo on there and charge a lot of money. I think there really was some research and development that went into it, some time. It just kind of shows, and I think that, you know, just across the board with Magnatone, I think that is true. So, you know, obviously, you know, we're probably slightly biased. We both love Magnatones. We both play them.
These are all of ours back here. It's great. That's mine.
We didn't have to bring these from the shop. These are actually ours.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say this is pretty close to 100% win from the old folks at Magnatone and Slash.
Yeah.
So
I think we can give them the thumbs up, approval, and success on that one. Yeah. And yeah, let us know what you think though in the comments, you know, and follow us on the road to 100,000. Right.
Woo.
Here we go. Go and like and subscribe and comment on the videos. You can comment to videos up till this one, but mainly the video where we announced that, and maybe you'll be lucky enough to win. Check us out on the live streams. 10 a.m. Wednesday morning.
Eastern time.
Eastern time.
Every Wednesday.
The right time.
Don't forget to hit the bell.
Yes. Like, subscribe.
Hit the bell.
The bell. The whole nine.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We're going to go play loud guitar amps some more, and we will see you next time.